talked a little bit about, Texas being a stand your ground or a doctrine state. And
it's interesting that you bring that up, because there was a push by one of the representatives to do away with that, stand your ground or castle law. I don't think that's going anywhere, but
and there's really a nationwide, there's this, and I don't even want to call it an undercurrent. I would say it's a pretty large movement to really try to repeal, these doctrines, these laws that afford individuals the right to not have to retreat. And what we're talking about in that situation, guys, is that, in Texas, if somebody threatens you, there's no reason for you to run. If you feel like, hey, I'm threatened, my family's threatened, and you need to take action, there's no retreat required. In other states, potentially they'd say, hey, you have to, if there's an exit strategy available to you where you can take it without, you can run and not get into a fight or get into this gun shootout, then you have an obligation to take it. If not, then you run the risk of potential conviction or civil liability in association with those actions. And so in Texas, we really look at it and say, like, hey, if you're threatened and you have to stand your ground, you're able to do that.
It seems to me that, just to the point of personal privilege here, I guess, it just seems to me that it seems that, like, this is stuff like, we know we can't get around the Second Amendment. So we're going to use everything we can to, basically legislate your ability to get a firearm out of existence, because even though you still have the right to keep and bear arms, we're going to legislate it so much around it. We're going to basically use the exceptions to swallow up the rule, right? That's a common thing in the law, is let's use the exceptions to swallow up the rule. I think, being a Second Amendment, pro Second Amendment person myself, I think that, at the end of the day, we can talk about this, we can go back and forth. If you're in a situation where you use a gun, you're going to be held accountable for it. You're going to be held accountable for when you fired that gun, what you fired at, if someone lost their life, whether that's self-defense, whether it's not self-defense, there is going to be an accountability for it. That's the way our legal system works. So just because you have a law or you have a license to carry doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be, free of responsibility if something bad happens. So, if you use that weapon. So, there's always a rule of reasonableness that goes along with all this stuff if you act in a sensible way. I understand that, mass shootings are a major problem, and, we got to do something about that. But restricting legal firearm owners who are obeying the law, I don't know there's necessarily a solution to the gun problem. So
yeah, you're not going to get rid of crazy, brother, by getting rid of guns. Like,
right.
You and I both know that crazy does crazy things with swords, with bats, with pipes,
the car,
with poison, with a car. You can get rid of all that stuff? No. What we're really talking about is something completely different, but they want to use it as a tool to really focus on this particular issue and say, well, this is the root of all evil. And it really isn't, to your point.
I would encourage anybody who's curious about firearms, things like that, or if you're totally against firearms, I would tell you, go to a gun range, hire one of the professionals that work at the gun range. A lot of them are usually either ex-military or ex-law enforcement. Have them teach you about the gun, have them let you shoot the gun, have them learn about guns, learn about gun safety. I think a lot of stuff, a lot of these, especially with respect to Sheila Jackson Lee. Some of the comments this lady was making, it's clearly obvious she hasn't held an AR-15. They're not 50 caliber weapons. And I don't know if that was a mistake. I don't know if that was a mistake on a press conference or what, but if you go out, if you're going to be against something, learn about the thing. Go out there, get somebody to teach you about it. Look, for example, at my house, me and my wife, we went to a gun range. We talked to a guy. We had him just go through it with us and say, hey, look, this is a gun. This is how you load it. This is how you unload. This is how you clean it. This is gun safety. This is this and this is, and because my wife didn't know anything about guns, so I was like, better somebody that's a professional teacher than me, because I don't want her to be scared of the thing. I want her to understand it and know how to use it if she has to. And so we live out near out in the country, so sometimes there may come a time when that's necessary. But it's important to understand the thing. If you're gonna be for it or against it, go out there and take a look, get some experience handling one and dealing with one, and then you can decide, okay, yeah, this is for me or not for me. And you know, I think it's helpful personally.
Yeah, it's without a doubt, it's a skill you need to have. Everyone in my family, obviously, I'm from a military, law enforcement, ranching family. So if you can't use a gun, you're probably not from the family. But I would tell you, like, it's a big responsibility, those types of conversations that you have. And to your point, Brian, that, there are people out there who own them that don't know anything about them. They don't know how to clean them. They really don't know how to use them. They just think it's cool to have one. In the cases that, maybe they ever have to use it, hopefully they never have to.
That's
And that's
probably the
fine.
person that shouldn't own one. If you don't know how to use it and you just think it's cool to have a Glock sitting there,
Yeah,
you're probably
you
not
see
the
him
best person
jump
to
out
have
and you're
one.
like, I'll shoot you like this. You're not gonna shoot anything. You're gonna miss everybody. But what I'm saying? Like these are the individuals that we probably want to, really spend some time talking about, the fools who go out and waste money. But if they would just, to your point, I think, gun safety, gun education, it's something that, it's like we talk about the legislation, right? And the law. There are a lot of people who think they know, but they don't know. And when you really dig into it and learn about it, then it's something that you improve your overall approach towards that particular issue, especially something that's potentially dangerous, and deadly. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, brother. I think that everybody should spend a little time, go out. If you don't like it, that's fine. But at least you've educated yourself, you understand it, you know it, and you can really relate to the conversations that are being had by individuals who believe in it, who want it, and want to have it.
Well, at least you know what's dangerous about it and what's not dangerous about it. Sometimes the fear of the unknown. Don't make a dragon out of something that's a lizard.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the Top Texas Lawyers podcast. If you would like a consultation with either Brian or Sam, please call 1-888-981-7509 or visit us on the web at astxlegal.com. Once again, that's astxlegal.com. Thank you very much.